I, 34 male, thought I had a strong relationship with my girlfriend, Dana, 32. We'd been together nearly 4 years. Living together for 2, she's ambitious, sharp, and works in marketing. Lots of late nights, lots of travel. I'd always trusted her, or at least I thought I did. It started 3 months ago, when she began bringing up work trips more often. First, it was a weekend conference in Chicago, then a 3-day training in Dallas, and finally a networking retreat in Miami. Each time I asked a few questions: who was going, what the schedule was, why she couldn't just Zoom like everyone else, and each time she bristled. The last conversation lit the fuse. She'd just announced another trip, this one overseas, a week in London for some client meetings. I raised an eyebrow. It's a lot of travel lately. Are you sure it's all necessary? Her eyes narrowed, her lips pressing into a hard line. A real man would support my career, not question my business trips. The words stung more than I let on. I just sat there, staring at her across the kitchen table, coffee cooling in my hand. That phrase replayed in my head for hours. A real man would support me. I decided then and there that I would support her, just not in the way she expected. That night after Dana went to bed, I stayed up researching. I wasn't looking for arguments. I wasn't looking for drama. I wanted clarity. So I hired a private investigator. Nothing shady, nothing over the line, just someone who could follow the facts and bring me back something I desperately needed: the truth. The PI, an older guy named Harris, was professional. You want me to track her trips, document who she meets, where she stays, when she checks in? Yes, I said. Everything. I don't need speculation. I need proof. Either way, the first week Harris came back with small stuff. Photos of Dana at the airport, boarding passes, timestamps, everything lined up with her story. For a moment, I wondered if I was being paranoid. Maybe I really was just the insecure boyfriend she painted me as. But then came the Miami trip. That's where the cracks began to show. Harris sent me a file photos of Dana, not just at the hotel, but at dinner. With a man, same guy, 2 different nights, no work colleagues in sight. I stared at those photos for a long time, my stomach tight. I didn't react, didn't confront her right away. I just tucked them away and told Harris to keep digging. If Dana wanted support, I'd give her the most thorough, undeniable kind. And she had no idea the kind of report that was quietly building against her. By the time Dana came back from Miami, I already had a folder on my laptop labeled support. It was ironic, really. Inside were time-stamped photos, credit card receipts, even copies of her hotel check-ins. Harris was meticulous. Every detail was lined up in neat little rows, telling a story Dana hadn't shared with me. When she walked through the door that Sunday night, a suitcase rolling behind her, she looked radiant. Sun-kissed skin, expensive perfume, a smile that said, "I've had a great time." I kissed her cheek and asked about the conference. Exhausting, she sighed, flopping onto the couch. Panels all day, networking all night. I barely slept. I nodded, pretending to believe her, but in the back of my mind, Harris's photos played like a slideshow. Dana at a beachside restaurant with the same man. Dana laughing, a cocktail in her hand. Dana leaning in close, her hand brushing his arm. "Glad you had fun," I said evenly, placing a glass of wine on the coffee table. She didn't notice the bitterness in my tone. Over the next 2 weeks, I kept playing the part of the supportive boyfriend. Every time she mentioned another trip or late night, I just smiled and said, "Of course, go crush it." Meanwhile, Harris kept feeding me more. Dallas, same man. Chicago. He didn't show up, but there were inconsistencies in her hotel check-in time. London, that was the big one coming up, and Harris promised to get the clearest picture yet. But something shifted in Dana, too. Maybe she sensed my calm was to calm. One night, as we sat eating takeout, she glanced at me and asked, "You're not jealous, are you?" I laughed lightly. "Jealous, no? Why would I be?" She studied me carefully, searching for cracks. "I don't know. Most guys would freak out about how much I travel. Just I don't want you to resent me." I put my chopsticks down and looked her straight in the eye.
I don't resent you.
"I support you. Completely." And for once, I wasn't lying. I supported her career, her trips, her choices, all, the way to the truth. The following week, Harris called me with an update that made my chest tighten. She's not just meeting the guy. They're booking the same hotel room. Same keycard swipes. This isn't business, son. This is personal. I sat in my car after that call, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. It wasn't suspicion anymore. It wasn't insecurity. It was fact. When I walked back into the apartment that night, Dana was packing again. London this time. She looked up at me and smiled. "You're not going to give me a hard time, right? Because I really need your support on this one?" I smiled back, my decision already made. "Of course. You'll have more support than you realize," and she would. She just had no idea the form it was about to take. Dana's London trip was supposed to be 5 days. She left on a Wednesday, suitcase packed, lips glossed, humming as she zipped up her heels. She kissed me goodbye at the door and said, "Be good while I'm gone, okay?" I smiled, kissed her forehead, and replied, "Always." The moment she left, I texted Harris. "She's on her way. You know what to do." 2 days later, the report landed in my inbox. Harris didn't sugarcoat. Email subject line read, "London, not business." I clicked the file open and felt my stomach twist. There she was, stepping out of Heathrow, dragging her suitcase, and not alone. The same man, tall, sandy hair, smug smile, was right beside her. Harris had photos of them checking into a boutique hotel together, his hand resting casually on her lower back. Day 1. Dinner at a French bistro in Soho. Multiple glasses of wine. Kissing outside the restaurant. Day 2. Shopping in Covent Garden. Walking hand in hand. Laughing like teenagers. Day 3. Same hotel room. Same late-night keycard swipe, hers first, then his a few minutes later. The evidence was airtight. She wasn't just lying to Mish. She was living a whole second life. When she called me that night, her voice was sweet as honey. "Hey babe, I'm exhausted. Meetings all day, dinner with clients. Wish you were here." I stared at the photos on my laptop screen, her leaning across the table to kiss him, and swallowed the bile rising in my throat. "I bet," I said softly. "I'm glad you're making good connections." She chuckled. "You really are the best. Most guys would be insecure, but not you. You're solid." Solid. That word echoed in my head like a hammer strike. She thought she had me wrapped so tightly around her finger that I'd never pull away. She mistook silence for weakness. When I hung up, I sat in the dark for a long time, listening to the hum of the refrigerator.
Ow.
My anger wasn't explosive. It was quiet, sharp, cold. It's the kind that doesn't burn out. I started putting things together. Harris had given me more than just photos. He had receipts, itineraries, names, enough to destroy whatever image Dana thought she had built. Enough to make sure when the truth came out she couldn't spin it, couldn't gaslight, couldn't wriggle free. By the time she got back from London, I'd have everything ready. The part that made me laugh darkly, bitterly, was that she actually believed I was supporting her. She thought she had the perfect arrangement. Me at home, stable and dependable. While she played international romance games, she was wrong. She wanted a real man to support her. Fine, I was going to support her all the way down. When her house of cards came crashing into the light, Dana's flight landed on a Monday afternoon. I knew because Harris texted me a photo of her stepping off the plane, sunglasses on, hand linked with his, as they moved through customs. The kicker? She released his hand right before walking into the arrivals hall, like she'd flipped a switch from affair partner back to girlfriend. By the time she walked through our apartment door that evening, I had already cleaned the kitchen, lit a candle, and poured 2 glasses of wine. She wanted a supportive man, and I was going to play the part perfectly right until the curtain dropped. "Bob," she sang, dropping her suitcase by the door and kicking off her heels. Oh my God, London was incredible. I networked so much, made amazing connections, and guess what? My boss said I'm being considered for a promotion. She threw her arms around me, hugging tightly, lips brushing my cheek. Her perfume hit me familiar, but now tainted with the stench of betrayal. I smiled, nodding. "That's great news. You worked hard for it." She flopped onto the couch, scrolling through her phone, probably deleting messages before I could notice. "See, aren't you glad you didn't freak out about the trip? A weaker guy would have lost his mind. You get me?" Oh, I got her all right. Just not in the way she thought. Over the next few days, I acted like nothing was wrong. We went to dinner, watched Netflix, even planned a weekend hike. She seemed relieved, almost smug, as if she had pulled off the perfect balancing act. But cracks were showing. She got twitchy when her phone buzzed, She hid her screen when texting. And one night, when she thought I was asleep, I caught her whispering in the bathroom, her voice low but urgent. "Of course I miss you. Just give me a little time, okay?" He has no idea. No idea. I nearly laughed out loud under the covers. She thought she was running the show. Meanwhile, I was collecting the last pieces. Harris had delivered the final report in a neat binder, complete with photographs, receipts, and timelines. I tucked it into a plain envelope, sealed and ready, was sitting in my desk drawer waiting for the right moment. The irony was almost poetic. She wanted me to support her, and I had. I'd supported her career, her travels, her lies, by documenting them better than she ever could. The reveal wasn't going to happen in a shouting match at home. No, that would give her room to twist the story. I had something much bigger in mind. Her company's annual gala was in 2 weeks. Black tie, high-profile clients, her boss in attendance. She had already picked out a gown and was buzzing with excitement. That's when I knew exactly when and where her support was going to come crashing down, and I was going to let her walk right into it. The days before the gala were almost surreal. Dana floated around the apartment in a haze of excitement, trying on dresses, practicing her acceptance smile in the mirror, and rehearsing conversations she imagined having with the partners. She didn't notice how quiet I'd become. Or maybe she did, and mistook it for awe. "You're so proud of me, aren't you?" she asked one night, spinning in a navy gown with a slit up the side. I kissed her hand gently, beyond proud. What I didn't add was, "I'm proud of how blind you are." Meanwhile, I had been coordinating with Harris. He had prepared a condensed version of the report no binder this time. It's just a crisp, stapled packet with the damning evidence front and center. Photos of her leaving Harris's hotel room in London, receipts with her name on them, time-stamped flight itineraries that didn't match her client meetings. I tucked the packet into a sleek black envelope, the kind you couldn't ignore. The plan was simple. At the gala, she'd finally get to see how supportive I could be. The morning of the event, Dana was all nerves. "This could make my career," she said, sipping coffee, scrolling through emails. "If the partners are impressed, I could get the promotion by spring." I set my mug down. "You've worked hard. You deserve it." She smiled, brushing my cheek with her hand. "See, this is why I love you. You believe in me." And for a moment I almost felt bad. Almost. But then I remembered her words. A real man would support my career. Support comes in many forms. Mine just happened to involve the truth. That evening, we arrived at the hotel ballroom. Chandeliers glistened, champagne flowed, and the air buzzed with polite laughter and ambition. Dana clung to my arm, radiant in her gown, greeting colleagues left and right. She introduced me proudly, like I was part of her trophy collection. "Everyone, this is my boyfriend, the most supportive man in the world." I smiled, biting back the irony. "Oh, they'll see just how supportive I am soon enough." Dinner was served. Speeches began. Dana leaned in, whispering, "When my boss toasts, we'll stand and make the rounds." That's when I shine. Her boss took the stage, praising the team, talking about the company's bright future. Dana straightened in her seat, her moment approaching. That's when I slipped away quietly, envelope in hand. I approached the table where her boss and the senior partners sat, smiling politely. I placed the envelope in front of him. "Something for you, sir. A little. Support for your evaluation." He raised an eyebrow, but didn't open it immediately. He slid it beside his plate, nodding curtly. When I returned to the table, Dana didn't even notice. She was too busy practicing her smile. What she didn't realize was that her entire world was about to collapse under the weight of the support she had demanded. The applause died down as Dana's boss returned to his seat, setting down his glass of champagne. He glanced at the sleek black envelope beside his plate, curiosity flickering across his face. With a subtle tear of paper, he slid the report free. I watched, calm, as his expression shifted. First, confusion, then recognition. Then the tight, polite smile of a man who just discovered something explosive, but was too professional to cause a sin yet. He tapped the packet lightly against the table, leaned to whisper something into the ear of the senior partner next to him. The whisper turned into a ripple. One partner after another leaned in, eyes narrowing at Dana. She didn't notice at first. She was too busy chatting with another associate, laughing a little too loudly, basking in the glow of what she thought was her night. Then the silence hit her. She glanced back toward the partners' table. Every single one of them was looking at her like she was a fraud. Her boss folded the packet shut and set it neatly on the table, as if placing a final verdict. Dana's smile faltered. What's happening?" she whispered, gripping my arm. "Support," I said softly. Her eyes darted to me, confusion mingling with fear. "What did you do?" I sipped my wine. "Exactly what you asked. I supported your career. I gave your bosses the full picture." She paled, realization crashing over her. "You didn't tell me you didn't." Before I could answer, her boss stood. "Dana," a word outside. Now, his tone wasn't loud, but it was final. The kind of voice that leaves no room for negotiation. The chairs scraped. Conversations paused. Everyone watched as Dana shakily rose, clutching her clutch bag like a lifeline. She looked at me one last time, betrayal burning in her eyes. "You've ruined me," she hissed. "No," I corrected gently. "You've ruined yourself. I just stopped covering for you." She followed her boss out of the ballroom, head down, whispers following her like smoke. A minute later, her phone lit up on the table. She'd left it behind in her panic. Message after message popped up Harris. One after another. What's going on? Did they find out? Answer me. I leaned back in my chair, strangely at peace. For the first time in months, I wasn't the insecure boyfriend waiting for scraps of honesty. I was free. I left the gala before dessert, walking past the glittering chandeliers, past the murmuring guests. Outside, the night air felt sharp and clean, like a reset button had been pressed. By the time I got home, Dana's calls had already started. 15 missed calls, 20, 30. Each voicemail, angrier, more desperate than the last. I powered my phone off, tossed it on the counter, and poured myself a drink. A real man, she had said, would support her career. Well, I had. And the truth was the strongest support I could have ever given. Funny thing about truth, it doesn't hold people up. It exposes whether they can stand on their own. If you've made it this far, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.